Welcome to Consider This Next on CivicSciTV Radio. I'm your host, Kacie Luaders. Here on the show, we connect with diverse voices across the civic science landscape. Scholars, practitioners, and leaders shaping the intersections of science within our society. Our mission? To uncover lessons from their work and translate them into actionable insights. Like all programs from the Civic Science Media Lab, whether on video, radio, or digital print, Consider This Next is here to keep decision makers, from researchers and practitioners to local community members, informed, inspired, and equipped with the latest insights. Today, we're talking with Quandra Gray, founder of What the Sprout, who's bringing agricultural science directly to communities through microgreen cultivation workshops. Quandra brings a perspective as someone who transitioned from a 15-year career in communications and design to creating hands-on educational programs that address food insecurity in Baltimore. In our conversation, we'll explore how Quandra bridges the gap between academic knowledge and community application, transforming agricultural science from abstract concepts into accessible, practical skills. So our guest today is bringing a bit of a green thumb to Consider This Next. We are very excited to have Quandra Gray on the show. Quandra, if you could let us know a little bit more about you and what it is that you do.
Yes, hi everybody. I'm Quandra Gray. I own What the Sprout. Essentially, what I do is introduce community members to agriculture by way of microgreen cultivation through workshops, touch and go workshops, and programs where I see them for an extended period of time. But essentially, it's to get people growing back to the basics of cultivating their own food.
Getting people growing. I love that. So I would like to know, how did you get involved with agriculture? What was your journey into the agriculture space?
I was really stressed at my 9 to 5 job. Over 15 years, I was in the communications design and visual design and marketing. And I just got really tired of sitting at my computer. I wasn't interested in climbing the career ladder and doing the work. And I remember a year, probably maybe even two, before I started with this part, I kept saying, I want to go play in the dirt, or I want to go be with community because I'm an introvert. So I was like, I want to go be with community. I want to play in dirt. And in October 2023, that's when I started with the Sprout. But I grew up on the west side of Baltimore in this really big backyard outside of a Baltimore row house. And I remember as a little girl, I played in the dirt a lot outside, along with a lot of stray dogs. And I wish as an adult that someone had showed me how to grow stuff. At least gave me some seeds and a pile of dirt to go experiment. And I wish someone had done that for me. So parts of my motivations, there were a couple, but one of my top motivations was to, with What the Sprout, is go out and meet Baltimore City children and introduce them to growing food. It's all my life I had not been introduced to that. Of course, it's expanded now. The vision is a little bit different, but the basics is the same. Everybody should be growing something. Learn how to grow it. A couple of reasons why the problem that I'm solving is food insecurity. There are high food priority areas that still exist in Baltimore City. It was certainly one when I was growing up. They are better known as food deserts, where areas are have a lack of fresh access to fresh foods for community members. And my solution is this: look, learn how to become self-reliant. And if everybody starts to grow in your block, maybe you all can grow food forests and you would never lack. You would never need anything from outside because you all will be relying on each other. What I know is this is that you can't just jump people into committing to growing mature vegetables over the course of several weeks or several months. So when I discovered microgreens, which was a really good solution for me, I rent and I didn't have enough outside space to grow, I started doing a vertical garden indoors. One of the most beneficial things about microgreens, besides them being nutrient dense, is that they grow as early as they're ready to harvest as early as 7 to 10 days. So introducing microgreens to someone who has never grown before and say, hey, you just have to commit to growing this plant, nurturing this plant for 7 to 10 days, and then boom, you can have your first harvest. Having those quick wins would really turn someone on to wanting to do more. And I think microgreens is an excellent gateway to potentially bigger agricultural projects like gardening or community farms.
We hear all the time knowledge is power. And what it sounds like is that you're providing communities like essential knowledge that actually gives them the power to feed themselves, which is almost a direct translation of that phrase. And if you could walk us through maybe one of your programs or workshops, or if someone is interested in this field and they're saying, okay, I've never grown anything in my life, I can't even keep a house plant alive. How can I grow food that I'm supposed to eat? How do you help to break down any of the fears or the hesitations for someone who has never grown anything?
First, I would say most times people hesitate or have fears around growing is failure. And I tell them, listen, I grow all the time. I fail sometimes. And you will inevitably fail at growing something. You can fail on day two, you can fail on week two, a month from now, but guess what? You have plenty of seeds and plenty of soil where you can try again. So we first eliminate that fear. The only thing you can do is fail, and that's okay. But I also, through my workshops and programs, in the most exciting and delightful way, express how much fun it is to grow. Not only are you, in our case, growing something to nourish your body, but it is a great stress reliever. So just think of it as a fun project that may work out or may not. But the benefits is that you get to eat your project. You get to eat your project, and guess what? You can start again. You can do it over and over as much as you want. I introduce most of my programs and workshops with a product. I actually have a self-watering kit. It's actually designed for people who say, I kill plants. I hear that all the time. I can't grow anything because I'll kill it. I said, this self-watering thing will give you a higher percentage rate of opportunity to be successful at getting this thing to be ready to harvest for you. Essentially, you just put the soil in the cup, put the seeds on top, put some water on the bottom. The plant self-waters itself. You just have to make sure it has enough water, has enough light. More than likely, you will have a high chance of being successful. I designed it for people who are scared to fail. In these workshops, I also go through the educational portion about what microgreens are and why they should grow them, the benefits of growing them.
On that point, would you like to explain to us, for those of us who don't know, what specifically is a microgreen? You mentioned that a little bit of like why microgreens are a nice gateway into growing other plants and things like that. But what are microgreens? What are microgreens exactly?
It's so funny. I take that understanding about what microgreens for granted because I know what they are. But microgreens essentially are herbs, flowers, fruits, and vegetables harvested at an early stage. So the broccoli, the carrots, the celery, turnips that you get from the grocery store at its full mature state. Microgreens are harvested way early in the process. So let's say my varieties of broccoli that grow, let's say take 3 months to grow. Okay. Microgreens only take 10 days. Or carrots that can take, what, 90 days to grow. Let's say a variety would take 90 days to grow. You can get some fresh microgreen carrots that taste just like carrots, sweet just like carrot, within 14 days. So it's just like you're harvesting these plants at an early stage. Don't let them grow up, essentially. You sow the seed denser than you would, like you would put one seed outside to grow a vegetable maybe 6 or 7 inches apart. Microgreens, you would sow them densely on some substrate, and that is soil or a grow pad, could even be a paper towel. And then you nurture that plant for most likely, less than 21 days, and you can harvest it and eat it.
So I'm curious, for you, how do you balance the sharing of the process of growing? You mentioned you have a grow kit that you designed for people who say, no plants, I can't do it, which means you had to do research on on designing a system for people like that. I'm fascinated by how you said your process is knowing that your audience, some of them at least, are folks who are, I don't want to do this because I don't want to mess up. How do you balance the science work that you do with connecting with your audience where they are? An important thing on the Consider This Next program that we want other science educators to learn is that how can they really genuinely connect with who they're speaking to in a way that's not just, here, I'm going to give you some information. Here's where you put the seed. Here's how you water it. In 5 days, the plant should be here. Boom. Like, you have designed both scientific and social and community centered systems to connect with your audience. And I just want to know, how do you balance the two?
Okay, so it's something I didn't realize I was doing until I started doing my workshops and programs, and I got feedback from a host. So if I go to the library and I'm meeting with community members, the librarians in there would tell me, "Oh my God, we love how you delivered that." What I do is, yes, I speak scientific, so cotyledonly, substrate, okay, evaporation. We use those words because that's what it is. But what I also do is give voice to the plants. I don't say the broccoli. I said this broccoli. I would speak as if the broccoli had voice. If you were to sow these seeds for this broccoli, it would tell you, I'm easy to grow. I won't die on you. You can forget to water me for a day, or you can leave me in the sun too long, and I still would thrive. Versus a plant called amaranth. And it is a beautiful little plant. It's red, garnet red. It's gorgeous. But that daggone plant is so fickle. Too much sun, it'll die. Too much water, it will die. If you forget the water, it will die. So those types of languages, like I was saying, I would pick the plant up and turn it to the audience and say, see this little thing right here? If it would speak to you, it would say, anything you do wrong, and I'm out. Once I die, I do not come back. You can imagine that would garner a couple giggles and laughs because they said that's the plant you would want to avoid. But if you want to grow something and be successful, you choose these families of plants. So it's just a mixing in with humor, but also humanizing what you do so they can make that connection with your audience. And it's not you are about to jump on a science project and oh my God, this is so serious. No, it's not. It's actually really fun. Failure is imminent. Let's see if you can be successful. You won't know until you try. Also, the other thing I do too is with the kit, especially. Now, the kit evolved. It used to be just soil in this little plastic container. And then people were like, yeah, it died. Like more people were saying it died. I was like, oh, because it's not self-watering. Because we're relying on people who say they kill things to be more active in the watering process, which inevitably they will kill it. And so the self-watering system actually allows the plant to get the water and that it needs, and then we're not relying on the person caring for it to give it what it needs. But then I also tell people when they do the plant, don't just set it and forget it. You are building a healthy relationship with this plant. It's going to make you happy and feel good. So in the first few stages of growing microgreens, you have to spritz and keep the seeds wet on top of the soil. If they dry out, it's not going to work. They're not going to germinate properly. So instead of saying water your plants every day, no, I say go say good morning to it with the spritz and say good night with the spritz and talk to your plant and tell it you can't wait to meet the cotyledon leaves when it comes when it comes up on day 6 or 7. So have that interaction, make it fun. It just get people really excited to have a different type of relationship with growing something for the first time versus bringing to the front that knowledge that they possibly could kill it.
This is my last question for you, and that question is, you are an academic who has translated your academic training, your teaching training in a classroom, to a program that speaks directly to community. Do you have any advice or words of encouragement, even words of caution, perhaps, for other academics who are listening to this and they're like, I'm really proud of my research. I love presenting my papers at the conferences, but I also want to do something more in the community. I'm not sure if I know how I could best go about doing that or what any of that would look like. But what advice would you have for someone who is in that situation?
Yes. So I would say before jumping out and starting your own business, use your skills and your passions to enhance existing infrastructure. Nonprofits that are almost aligned with the community work that you think you might want to do. That's another thing. You think, oh, I'm going to jump out there and do it. Go test your idea out at a nonprofit or start some club. Libraries are my favorite place to be. It was my escape when I was a kid. And so when I started with the Sprout, that's the first thing I did was start partnering with libraries. I'm like, that is the place I want to be. Also, I didn't wanna charge. I'm supposed to be helping solve the problem of food insecurity. How then can I charge the people I'm supposed to be helping? So I went to libraries as my customers in our partnership, and then the community was the beneficiaries of what I taught. So go to libraries and start to flirt around with presentation ideas, do modules of what you have and present it to different audience. Is it adults? Is it children? Is it family? Is it women? Break it down first. And since you're playing around with ideas, maybe target the ones that fulfill you first. What's going to make you the most happy? I would also say this too. This is a serious passion of mine. I always keep it tucked away because it probably could be a little controversial. But if your product or service or passion aligns with anything attached to Maslow's laws of self actualization, stick to it and amplify your efforts. So mine is food. This is nothing to play around with. We're talking about self-reliance. I'm not selling a restaurant. This is something that would fulfill communities and individuals. I need you to stick to your passion when it gets boring, when it gets tough. And I guess how you say it, uninstitutionalize your skills and your passion and your fulfillment and contribute to the world as a whole with what you have and enhance people's self actualization. I think the fulfillment would skyrocket. You'd be really happy. With all the challenges that we're having right now, I am happy about what I'm doing. I sleep well at night. I'm not just trying to make a dollar. I'm out here really trying to make transformational impact. And I'm really thrilled about what I'm doing.
Uninstitutionalize your skill set. I think that is a fantastic place to conclude this conversation. And so, if people want to know more about you, more about what the Sprout, anything that you have coming up, what's the best way for them to find you or to get in contact with you?
Go to my website, whatthesprout.com. I'm on social media, Instagram, Facebook. Please link with me on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. Anything at What the Sprout, you can find me there. But I'm working on, I do programs here in Baltimore, but I'm like, okay, there's a smart way to scale and still fulfill my mission. So I'm starting up some virtual workshops where I can reach anybody in the United States. And you'll be able to get one of my kits and actually get me for 10 days within the program and we'll grow together. So just sign up for the newsletter on my website. Connect with me on any of those social platforms. I'm going to be announcing it soon, actually.
Thank you again so much for being here today and for sharing your passions and your knowledge. And we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Now that we've heard Quandra's approach to community centered agricultural education, when it comes to translating scientific knowledge into practical community programs, consider this next. How can you design systems that account for your audience's real barriers and fears? Quandra's self-watering kit was about more than convenience. It was about removing the specific obstacle that kept people from trying. What assumptions might you be making about why your audience isn't engaging with your content? Are you balancing scientific accuracy with genuine human connection? Notice how Quandra uses proper terminology like substrate and evaporation, while also giving voice to the plants and encouraging people to say good morning to their microgreens. Technical precision doesn't have to come at the expense of personality and warmth. Could your expertise serve community needs beyond traditional academic or professional settings? Quandra's advice to deinstitutionalize your skill set challenges us to think about how our knowledge could address fundamental human needs rather than just advancing our fields. And lastly, how might you test and refine your communication approach through direct community engagement? Libraries, community centers, and local organizations offer opportunities to practice translating your expertise into formats that truly serve diverse audiences. Before we sign off, I'd like to offer a big thank you to you, our listeners, for tuning in and engaging with these crucial topics. If you found value in this podcast, please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Your support helps us continue to bring you insightful conversations like this one. Until next time, keep nurturing your curiosity and stay connected to the science all around you. This is Kacie Lueders, signing off from Consider This Next on CivicSciTV Radio. Stay curious.